Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Fifth Road Spirit Tarot. I am Aisha, the person behind Fifth Road, and back with your weekly tarot and oracle card reading. First of all, happy spring equinox, and of course, happy Aries season. It's basically like a new zodiac year. We've gone through all of the 12 signs. Pisces season. I don't know if you watched my self-care tarot and oracle video yesterday, but I think that had a lot to do with all of the energy that was coming through with Aries. So I'm really excited. Really excited to be starting this new year. And I don't know, I'm just kind of interested to see what the energies are saying. Although I will say it's been kind of like an energetic day, but also kind of as if I'm how do I phrase it? As if I'm let's see. Basically as if I'm kind of like taking it all in, but also making sure that I've swept out the last little bit of spiritual dust, left, it's like energetic dust that's been left over, and that I have a clear path ahead. And I'm feeling kind of good about that. So today for me was all about just kind of, sticking to like my normal routine of working out and sitting in spirit. That's typically what I'll do on a Sunday, and just really being available to new energy, new spirit, everything like that. I had my grounding, my root chakra candle lit on my altar all day. Made sure to give some thanks to to my ancestors. I had the door open for just a bit, just to kind of let some air in and kind of, move the energy around in my house a little bit. So that was really great. So yeah, I hope you all have had a wonderful first day of spring, and I'm kind of excited to really see what's going to happen this week in the energies, what's going on, and see what Spirit has to say to us. So let me just clear out just a little bit that I've gotten on the side here, and we'll get started. Let's see, for the week. Let's see, this is March 20th, the week of March 20th, 2022. Let's see here. Where do we start off oracle wise? I'm looking through my decks here just to kind of see what are the energies. You know what? I'm just going to stick to wild unknown archetypes to give us a read for the week. And I also want to do some chakra cards, since we're in Aries season, and Aries is about it's a physical, very physical sign. So I'm just going to start off with the chakra cards, just to see what we will be focusing on this week in our bodies. Trying to get this last card out. Okay. Awesome. Okay. I call on the elements, the spirit of the elements of air, fire, water, and earth, as well as the spirit of the fifth element, the element that unites us all as one, to come into this reading with the message for the collective or for those who are watching for the week of March 20th, 2022. Thank you so much, Spirit. Ooh. These seem to kind of flip out, so I'll take those. Wow, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, this is very interesting. The first card out is our third eye chakra, and there's an affirmation connected. I am connected with my higher self. There has been a theme of that going on, being connected with the higher self. I am divine and inspired. This is a crown chakra affirmation. Very interesting. And then an explanation of the crown chakra. So there seems to be a lot going on in our third eye, our intuition and how we connect with our higher self. And again, I think that's just kind of a read on of energy from yesterday's self-care tarot reading. So you might want to watch that. And then, of course, elevating to the crown chakra. So it seems like this might be a very different Aries season where we are using our body as a form, we're really using as a form of embodiment, where we are connected to our, we're connected to our bodies in a very spiritual way. This is interesting. Okay, so I'll go ahead and read this crown chakra card. Sahasrara. Sorry. I'm looking at it's kind of spaced out, so I'm like Sahasrara. Okay. This is the seventh and final chakra in our body system. This chakra relates to our higher selves and the realization that everything is connected at a fundamental level. This can seem intimidating for beginners, but with practice, the energy of this chakra becomes stronger and can help you build a deeper connection to the realm of the divine. Wonderful. So I'm going to put these up here. Third eye chakra, crown chakra. That's what we're focusing on this week. Connecting with your higher self, as well as understanding that you are divine and inspired. So let's see. I'm going to call on Spirit again to bring us a message from the Wild Unknown Archetype cards for the week of March 20th, 2022. This is very interesting. I'm really curious as to where this is going to go. Okay, Spirit. Wow. Well, there we are, right there. Thank you, Spirit. So what we have is the box and Thanatos. Wow. You know, in this reading and these cards coming out, I'm kind of getting the sense that we are entering into a new idea of the body. We're breaking out of an old idea of what the body is. We're moving outside of this idea that the body is, we're just inside of a box. And I feel as if the Thanatos is we're exiting a plane of existence. And that is so true when we talk about this. We're looking at our third eye chakra, we're connecting with our higher self, and we are understanding that we are divine and inspired. Wow. Okay, so really quickly, before I continue, I do want to read about those. So let me get the book. And I'm going to rearrange my mic because it is way too close to my throat. Hopefully that's a little better. Okay. So we've got the box XLIV. The box, the cage, the rules, the norm. We all live to some degree within the confines of the box. This archetype represents everything that is known, anticipated, and expected. It holds us in place while simultaneously holding us back from our greatest visions. The box is sneaky, insidious, and everywhere, limiting us at the most unconscious levels. It is built of layer upon layer of social constructs and pressures. Breaking through its confines regularly requires awareness, continued effort, and bravery. The box may appear as expectations from parents, a well-paying but heartless job, the pressure to look or behave like others, or simply to stay small. There is a box around you now made of some type of confining thought. What is it? The box shifts and morphs as we grow. This is part of its multi-layered nature. Once you break through one layer, another will present itself to you. Keep going. Break through. An exquisite life requires it. Wow. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm kind of sensing here with this box. It really is that, and I actually have been feeling that with the start of this new astrological year that we're entering with Aries. Is that, you know, Aries, although physical, is all about this warrior energy. This is the idea that we are breaking out of. We're fighting the war of like breaking out of an idea of who we are. And I'm really interested to see what this Thanatos card really goes into. So let's take a look at that. Okay, yep, exactly what I thought. Thanatos, death. It is tempting to oversimplify death and sum it up as transformation, but the true archetypal resonance of Thanatos cannot be easily assimilated or contained. Look at that, wow. We've got box here, and then we got Thanatos, which is death, which cannot be contained. Transformation is endless. Yeah, and so it says here, death is ongoing and omnipresent, an eternal response to the gift of birth. Witnessing the end of another being, creature, phase, or stage has deep consequences for the psyche. We are forever changed by Thanatos as it sweeps us under its wings, making us relinquish control in every form. It leaves a mark of ash upon our heart, signifying we have touched the cusp of the underworld, and will return to the land of the living eventually, with more compassion and wisdom to share. This capacity is needed in our world. One who has faced the annihilation of Thanatos can face anything. When this card appears, it signifies an initiation into the underworld. Wow. And it's very interesting. So I spent a great deal of the first year and a half of this channel talking a lot about the underworld and how there's this the story, or at least the mythology around Persephone being taken by Hades down to the underworld, where she started off as the maiden in the upper world, right? And having this idea of playing small when she was, with her mother up in the upper world. And once she, there's this, again, an idea from a myth of her going down into the underworld. And of course, her moving from the upper world to the underworld sometimes denoted the change of season. So, and a lot of times, there was a conflicting story that said that her descent into the underworld actually occurred during the summer and into the fall, so that during winter she was actually above ground. So it differs depending on your source, of course, but it's very interesting that we're seeing that same energy here, breaking out of a box, but also understanding that we're breaking out of a box. And death cannot be contained. Change cannot be contained. Transformation cannot be contained. And so here, this is where we go back into our connections. We are connected. I'm connected with my higher self. I'm divine and inspired. So to me, it kind of goes into this story of someone who is undergoing great transformation. But in the midst of that transformation, really understanding how in the midst of the transformation, they are still connected to a sense of self. They are still connected to a divine being that will never be able to be contained by the box. That will never be able to be defined by our parents, by our friends, by societal, the things that society says we're quote unquote supposed to have, do, or be. Death cannot be contained. The things that happen when we descend into the underworld cannot be contained. Change, transformation cannot be contained. It can't be put in a box. And I think that is the part of the reading here. So let's see if we can build on this story of the energy for this week. I'm going to pull out the Kipper deck, maybe get a sense of who is involved in this story. So this is the Kipper fortune-telling deck. Let's get a sense here of who's involved. Spirit, who's involved in this story? Who's involved in this story of this energy this week? Who's connected here? Who is connected here? Who might we be connecting with? Who might be trying to keep us in a box? What might we be trying to change into? Okay. Thank you, Spirit. Any insight that you have for us? A gift? Wow. Okay. A gift. And a thief. Interesting. What's this? Thoughts. Okay. All right. Journey. Ha. Wow. Okay. Wow. As I'm like trying to put all this together, I'm looking at this. There's a gift here. There's thief, there's thoughts, and there's journey. And I think again, it's kind of that story of Hades leaving the underworld to try to get Persephone into his grasp, into his box. And in doing so, he kidnaps her. He's a thief. He had been so, and of course this is again a myth, and there are very many different versions of it. But from what I understand, Hades could not get his mind off of her. So, and that's what I see in this thoughts card. Hopefully y'all can see it and there's no glare. Well, there's a little bit of a glare. So let me see if I can put a little bit closer. So we got the thoughts card. And so I can see where Hades, god of the underworld, was saying, I really, really want Persephone as my queen. And so he brings her back down to Hades. And of course there were according to the story, she had eaten six pomegranate seeds, and that's why she has to stay in Hades for 6 months, something like that, 6 months of the year. So, wow, this is quite interesting. What can we pull from this story for the energies for this week? What's the lesson that's coming from this? That Persephone could not be contained? Let's talk a little bit about Persephone. How do we relate to Persephone? If we look at this, if we come back to this idea of the third eye chakra and the crown chakra, when Persephone was in Hades, I'm pretty sure her first thought was of her mother and of being back home and missing her, and of course being wrongfully taken, being kidnapped. And so there was this idea of, there has to have been some sort of idea of her maintaining connection with her higher self, meaning herself that was her life that was still above ground, her life that was still with her mother, the life that she had been taken from. But then it almost seems as if she also started to connect, because the story continually evolves, with the idea of Persephone becoming the queen of the underworld, and she's no longer, right, in her mother's realm. She's no longer a maiden. She's moved from maiden to queen. And yeah, it's the underworld, but she's still connected to that divine understanding, her higher self. And I feel as if the understanding of that switch from maiden to queen now pushes her into her crown chakra. The realization that everything is connected at a fundamental level. This is a deeper connection to the divine. This is her becoming not only divine, but also inspired. And so now she understands how to rule a kingdom that she might not have gotten a chance to do if she were still in the upper world under her mother, you know, just kind of like waiting for her mother to make decisions for her and that kind of thing. So in that sense, Persephone is not boxed in any longer by what her mother wants. And she is absolutely transformed in some way by this idea of being taken to the underworld, where all the souls of the dead go in this mythology, right? Interesting. Let's see how this unfolds with the tarot. This will be very interesting. Let's see. Trying to figure out, should I use my Rider-Waite or should I use the Wild Unknown? Spirit, which one? You know what? They're not even saying either one of those. They told me to use my Hermetic Tarot. So that's what we're going to do. Hermetic Tarot. Quite interested, because this Hermetic Tarot has been, it's been kind of on point with a few things. So let's see what Hermetic Tarot has to say about this story, about how our week is unfolding, how the energies this week are unfolding. Spirit, can you please clarify the energies this week as we move into Aries season, as we move into the spring equinox? As we move into the spring equinox, tell us a little bit more about this story and what we can learn from Persephone's her glow up, I guess. Is that weird to say? Glow up from maiden to queen? Very interesting. Maybe we'll be seeing that this week. All right. Spirit, can you clarify gift? Can you clarify gift, please? clarify? Okay. Gift is being clarified by the Chariot. Can you clarify thief? Thank you. Thief is clarified by the Ten of Wands. There's a lot of movement here. Thoughts, can you clarify that, please? This jumped. Four of Pentacles in reverse. Wow. All right. We've got Journey. Journey. Wow. Queen of Swords in reverse. Interesting. All right. Wow. At the bottom of the deck, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. This seems to me as, okay, I feel as if this is now a little bit about the story of Hades himself. This is someone who is willing to give up their wealth because they have an understanding of what is most valuable now. I talked about the Chariot a little bit in a previous self-care video. Hopefully you get a chance to check it out. But I see the Chariot, and of course, when I see the Chariot here matched with the Gift, the story here is this is someone who is no longer able to run from fate. This is someone who is recognized, right? The gift in a person, a relationship, and it just goes completely outside of the box of who they're supposed to be with or what that person is supposed to look like. It goes completely outside of the box. And there is nothing like this relationship should not have ever happened, right? This is someone recognizing a gift from the universe and moving toward it because they understand that is their fate. This is what has been prophesied. Like they understand this is supposed to happen. There's movement, right? While others classify this person, put them in a box as a thief. And the Ten of Wands is this, I'm feeling that the Ten of Wands is about this. I think it just speaks to Hades taking Persephone. This is, moving away from, but it's oddly enough, even though it's upright, it's moving away from, land that is no longer, no longer viable. Ten of Wands is taking action to take up your burdens and bring them with you, like take up all your actions and bring them with you. But it's on the premise that the Ten of Wands is saying, there's no space here. There's no room here for you to grow. So there's almost this idea, maybe even Hades, he didn't even know that he was being he was the one that was also giving Persephone her way out. And so even though the Ten of Wands here is the Lord of oppression, what seems like oppression eventually becomes this idea of freedom for Persephone, a maturing process for Persephone. Interesting. Wow. Four of Pentacles in reverse. This is definitely, Lord of earthly power. I think at some level, Hades had to have known that by bringing Persephone back into his realm, he was giving up something. He was giving up the safety that he had, but he was also probably giving up, I don't want to romanticize this, but he was probably giving up this idea that he could do it all alone. He was probably giving up some idea that, I'm the Lord of earthly power, but I can't do it alone. And so maybe, and again, I'm pulling out themes that might show up for you during this week or whenever you watch this, is the idea that someone is now understanding what they need to give up in order to pursue what is ultimately their fate. With this out of the box, relationship or connection, it's completely it's like something you would never have imagined, in order to bring parts of the higher self, right, down into the consciousness. If we connect and talk about the underworld as the consciousness, as the here and now, right? This is someone coming into their idea of spirituality and their role in making things happen. I know, it's a lot. It's probably too high level. I'm trying to do better. It's really high level, and it's my Sagittarius moon. So, yeah. Anyway, so then we get to Journey, and we see the Queen of Swords in reverse. Queen of Swords is the queen of the thrones of air. This, in a regular deck, is also my truth teller. And when I say truth teller, I mean this is the person that wields the truth as a weapon. And you can see it here if I turn this right side up. This Queen of Swords has a severed head in her hand. Her hair is all over the place. She's got this huge sword. But this is the idea that it's in reverse, means that someone is now having to back down with their I really do think this is speaking to Persephone's mother, who had to relinquish her daughter to her fate, had to relinquish her daughter to the gods, had to relinquish her daughter to the world, to life, to this idea of being outside of the box and experiencing the thing that she had completely tried to protect her for. I think her name was it Demeter? She had been trying to protect Persephone from the world and from change, and was keeping her in a box. But now, Queen of Swords in reverse, she is defeated. Her daughter must go on this journey. I feel this is a maturation process overall, an elevation process that we're going through this week on an energetic level. Ten of Pentacles in reverse, I just think that speaks to Hades, both Hades actually and Persephone's mother, basically getting out of the way so that Persephone could also meet her fate, so that she could mature. Also wondering if this has something to do with the earth maturing, but someone had to give something up that was very earth-based. And I think 3 people here had to give something up in this story. Okay, so let's do one more round with the tarot to see if we can continue to pull this back into current day. So I'm going to pull out Wild Unknown, and I'm going to ask Spirit to tell us a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more. How does this connect us to our daily lives, our week? What can we bring forward in our own lives to speak about or think about, be aware of, notice this week, Spirit? All right. Thank you. What can we notice about our own fate? What can we notice about our own fate? We've got the 10 of Swords. Okay, whenever I see this card and I ask the question, what can we notice about our own fate in heading towards success? And it is time, I really do see this as it's time to get rid of our egos. And when I say ego, I mean, of course, there's a healthy ego, but there's a time to, every time I see this card in particular, I keep thinking, it is time to sacrifice your golden calves. It is time to take them off the pedestal and get rid of them. It's time to burn them down. It really is sacrificing your golden calves. Things that really matter to you. It's time to figure out, you've got to give something up in order to gain something. Interesting. Okay, with this 10 of Wands, what are we moving on to? What are we moving on to? Got the 4 of Swords in reverse. We are moving out of a dream. We're waking up. I mean, the 4 of Swords upright, I see that as being in a dream state, being in hibernation. I mean, that's just perfect, right? For what we're doing now. We're coming out of hibernation. And of course, this is about truth and clarity and communication. This is about communicating even that we are moving outside of the box. We are moving outside of this, what I keep saying this, and this has come up for the last several readings, but what looks like chaos to the observer, when the seed is planted, right? And it starts to grow, what looks like chaos to the observer is the seed actually growing, implanted and growing. So this is you stating, and even though someone's you're a thief, you're stealing my idea of the sense of you that I knew. And it's like, no, everyone is going through transformation. I'm giving you the privilege of letting you know I am transforming. I am moving into this new idea of self. Wow. I am maturing. So, Spirit, this 4 of Pentacles, what are we allowing? Wow, that was quick. Spiritual growth. Spiritual growth. We're leaving behind a whole bunch of, I think a lot of people have these relationships that are predicated on staying in a box. And here, even though this is cups, and it's not, I mean, cups are about relationships and emotions and feelings, there were so many things that must have been built on the idea of who we agreed to be in order to be accepted in everyday life. And we're breaking out of the box here. We're breaking out of the box of, honestly, it's like breaking out of the box of relationship with self and how others viewed us, which of course can be scary, but it has to happen, right? Wow, Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, this journey, this releasing, I mean, this is just 4 of Cups in reverse. 4 of Cups in reverse is basically, so upright, I would see this as a rejection. In the reverse, this is an acceptance. This is an accepting of things needing to go south. Oh, wow. I didn't even think of things needing to go south. Persephone going into the underworld, but things having to there has to be some sort of a letting go. You have to let things go to shit. And I mean, I think that's apparent even in the seasons that we go through on earth. You have to let things go through shit. You have to let them just go through that. In the winter, there are no leaves, of course, pine trees, that's a different story. But, there are no leaves. Everything is gray and bare. There's no life to anything. And so we have to let it go through a death phase. We have to let it go through a transformation. We have to accept it because it's going to happen whether or not we ask it to or not. Wow. And then on the bottom of the deck is the Six of Cups in reverse. And I just see that as releasing the past. Yeah. Releasing the past. Wow. We're looking at the roots of the tree now. We're looking at, it's weird. We're looking at things. What's that show, Stranger Things, the upside down? Yeah, we're looking at things from the upside down. I'm seeing that with that Six of Cups in reverse. Because upright, the Six of Cups is like, oh, this is something from the past and something's coming back. And no, it's not coming back. And look at that. Under that was the Empress card. That was under that. I feel as if, and look, the fact that the Empress card is right under there, this is just me seeing, and I feel like Spirit is saying, this is Persephone. This is Persephone matured. This is the Empress energy. Let things go to shit. Let things go to shit. Wow. All right, let's get some guidance. How long have I been on? Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. A little over 40 minutes. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I've been trying to keep them a little shorter, but let's see what guidance we have. Mystical Shaman Oracle. You know what? I've got a new deck, and I don't think I've used it on camera before, but it's called the Sacred Geometry Oracle deck. I know this has been kind of a weird setup reading anyway, but let's just continue with the weirdness. Why not? All right. Spirit, can you give us some guidance? Can you give us some guidance for this reading as we move into this week of March 20th, 2022? Can you give us some guidance on this reading? Oops, come on. All right. Can you give us some guidance on this reading, please, Spirit? Can you give us some guidance, please? Thank you. Awesome. So let's take a look. We've got the dodecahedron in reverse, and we've got morning meeting upright. So let's take a look at what those mean. First of all, I think I'm going to read morning meeting first since it fell out on top. And dodecahedron, I'll read that second. So let's look. 17, morning meeting. And that's the text, just so you know. So, upright. Communication. This card incorporates the elements of nature in the woods. It also conveys the possibility that we as human beings can learn to live and love in balance and communicate with respect and tenderness. The geometry here is the square, representing male energy, and the circle, which is traditionally considered female. This card asks you, look at that, male and female. We're talking about Persephone and Hades. This card asks that you view the way you communicate both with others and yourself. Do you speak from the heart with respect and sincerity? Do you truly listen to the person who is speaking? Or are you constantly thinking ahead to how you will rebut his or her argument or demonstrate how smart and funny or well-versed you are? As you communicate with yourself, do you honestly look at thought and feeling, or are you stuck in fear and insecurity, failing to find the openness that allows you to know yourself and your purpose in living? Take an opportunity today to observe the way you communicate. Discover a balance of give and take based on openness and respect. It may bring you closer to knowing yourself and to communicating well with others. I think that's an interesting thing to look at too, because we're talking about, of course, it's a myth, but if we think about it in terms of, okay, Hades brought a queen into the underworld, a new queen. He had never had one before. What's the communication between them like? Is it loving? Is it purposeful? And not only that, this is someone who was a maiden and who is growing into their own being. So is he making space for that communication to happen? Is he, are they understanding that of each other? That could be something that's going through this week, something to think about. So next up is dodecahedron, number 57, and that is in the reverse. Okay, dodecahedron. Let's see. I think I'm going to read the first paragraph and then I'll read the reverse section. The dodecahedron is one of five. Hold on, let me hold it up for you. The dodecahedron is one of 5 three-dimensional geometric shapes commonly called the Platonic solids. Platonic, wow. That's interesting. Each has equal angles, edges of equal length and equal faces, and each would fit within a sphere. Look at that. And we talked about how the sphere is a feminine shape, and the square is a masculine shape, but there is no square here. And there is technically no circle, but there's a little of both involved in the dodecahedron. Okay. These shapes hold cosmic wisdom within their structure. The dodecahedron has 12 equal 5-sided faces. This geometric solid embodies divine thought or will and is the archetype of life and fecundity made visible. It is heaven, ether, prana. Oh, and it is female. Okay. I'll go ahead and read the whole thing and then I'll read the reverse. Choosing this card connects you with divine thought and with the realization of the universality of oneness. Consciously move into your breath and connect with the prana force that resides there. Feel yourself moving away from the concept of duality, which modern culture tells us is the way of the world, into an experience of the oneness and unity of all life. Breathe deeply and experience the feeling of oneness within your being. Visualize what this unity will look like in your present life and how the shift you are making will aid all of humanity in the intentional evolution from polarity consciousness to unity consciousness. Hold this image in your heart and feel your emotional truth in this shift. Since it's reversed, you feel at odds with yourself and refuse to see the oneness of it all. Conflict seems to be the name of the game. Stop and listen to your thoughts. Quiet your mind and ask yourself whether the effects of conflict are serving a purpose or whether they are perhaps a lesson asking you to learn how to resolve differences and return to harmony. So simply put, I believe that the reading this week is talking about maturing to allow ourselves to elevate beyond boxes that we think we should be in, and really speaking to each other and communicating to each other with a purpose that is not confining us to the box, but definitely identifying the fact that we are constantly changing and evolving. We are constantly transforming. We have to allow everything to impact that and bring us to that sense of self, that sense of being. We have got to stop speaking to people as if we are maintaining the box, and instead speak to people understanding and knowing that death is and transformation is constant. I hope that makes sense. That because there are times when I think I had a conversation where I realized that, most parents speak to their children, and in order to bring their children back into alignment, they speak to them sometimes from a point of shame. And shame keeps us in a box. By understanding that we each have a transformation and a change that we're going to go through, right? We have to really start speaking in ways that allow for, like with Persephone's mother, allow for the release, allow for the being, allow the child to be, allow the child to be, allow Persephone to be, allow the maturation process, not only in the child, but like in ourselves. So I know this was a super weird reading. I don't know. I hope it vibes. But I was kind of feeling it. Hopefully you got a little bit of something out of it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. Or I will see you all for the self-care tarot reading on Friday. Thank you so much. Bye.